This is the most technical part of this series, and I hope I don't send people into a stroke while explaining the technical aspect of it, but details will be linked on YouTube. It would be naive to say all Nigerians have accepted the facts of evolution, or that humans actually have a shared ancestor with other primates. But I'm going to attach a book, recommend a book, cite a small example that disproves the story of Adam and Eve. I am sure most people actually crimp at any thought of copulating with a relative of their family. There is a fear of incest in us for biological reasons. There is no way two members of the same species can actually propagate a generation. Inbreeding would actually kill them because it actually increases the probability of any damaging genes in your ancestry. The first example I will cite is the island of Pinglap in Micronesia. In 1775, a typhoon came into the island and wiped out most of the population, leaving 20 people with the king. The king suffered from color blindness. Today, 1 in 10 people from Pinglap suffers from color blindness. Meanwhile, in the real world, just 1 in 33,000 people suffer from it. The second example in reality are the Habsburg family in Austria. Meanwhile, this family is a rare family. They want to keep the riches in the family, so they notoriously arrange marriages in the family with other relatives. And over time, they developed a distinct kind of job. You should actually look it up. The last person in that generation was actually sterile, had a ball as black as charcoal. You can also look up inbreeding in Alabama to actually understand what inbreeding does to you. Inbreeding is so dangerous because it increases the probability of evolving a bad disease in the family. I hope at this point you have disposed of the idea that it was Adam and Eve that gave birth to all of mankind. The evidence for evolution I am going to cite is not very difficult to accept. It is just a basic Darwinian claim that humans with other forms of life share a basic predisposition towards survival and self-preservation. To put it simply, it means living things love to stay alive. Humans want to stay alive. That billions of years of evolution have carefully crafted humans to avoid dying at all costs. The second claim is this. The claim is that humans are the only ones aware of their own mortality. Of all animals, humans are the only ones aware of their own mortality. That it is possible to die and it is an inevitable end. The third claim is that humans with their own unique mind to be self-aware about the fact that they are alive and about the fact that they will someday die is also simultaneously aware that their life could end at any moment. What these claims are about is that humans are the only one with a large forebrain enough to actually render ourselves the object of our own inquiry. They call it the back camera mind, and you can think of it this way. You are aware you are listening to me right now. You are aware you are sitting on a chair or you are standing. You are aware. Only humans can actually do that. I am aware I'm going there. I'm aware I'm going there. Just think about that. That is what it means, that we humans are the only one who can actually do that. We have been configured over billions of years of evolution to survive at all costs. We are self-aware enough to know that we will someday die, and we are aware that Through any incident, our lives could be over at any moment. And this is the work of Søren Kierkegaard. He said, this is not a welcoming realization for humans. Because if you are aware of your own death and it is the same thing on your mind every single day, you will be dispirited. We won't be able to get out of bed in the morning. If I could someday die or I could die at any moment is all you thought about, you wouldn't be able to get anything done. You will be paralyzed by the fear of our own mortality. Since the recognition of our death is not a welcoming realization, he said, and these are the words of Søren Kierkegaard, he said, the discomfort associated with the awareness of death is magnified by the coincidental recognition that not only can we die, but we can die at any moment for reasons we cannot anticipate or actually control. And this is the reality of our lives. Of course, we actually go through life thinking that death is impossible, and for reasons I would actually highlight. But it is really possible, and only those who have died actually understand this, to actually die at any moment. So what do we do about this realization that we can someday die and our death can actually happen at any moment, which is a paralyzing terror? What Ernest Becker, and these are the works of several people, Søren Kierkegaard, Darwin, Ernest Becker, and Sheldon Solomon, someone I've actually spoken to. Their work is about actually understanding this. He said, and these are the words of Ernest Becker. He said, to minimize the potentially paralyzing terror of the awareness of death, engendered by the fact of our mortality, human beings uses the cognitive capacity that actually enabled us to understand our own mortality, to dissuade us from it by actually creating culture. And he said culture actually consists of humanly constructed view about the nature of reality that we share with other fellow human beings in order to reduce death anxiety by giving us each a sense that we are valuable individuals in a meaningful universe. So what he says is that to actually get up in the morning, we have to believe that life is meaningful and that we are individuals of value, which cannot be realized in an interpersonal vacuum, and we have to actually share these beliefs with our neighbors. And the way culture enables us to do that is by giving us an explanation of the origin of the universe. All culture, as far as we know, give us an explanation of where we come from. All cultures, as far as we know, give us an explanation of how we are supposed to behave while on earth. All cultures, as far as we know, give us a sense of immortality and hope for immortality. Maybe it is in the afterlife, or heaven, or rebirth, or reincarnation, that we may know that we might not last long and we might die at any moment and we could die, but a vestige of our life would actually persist on. Maybe by having children, maybe by actually writing our names on top of buildings, on top of planes. The point that basically is that we need to actually believe that life is meaningful before we can actually get out of bed in the morning. And beyond actually believing that life is meaningful, we have to believe that we have value, individuals of value, that there is a role we are supposed to play, and we can actually get out of bed in every morning and actually go out and actually play it. And if we actually meet or exceed those social rules, actually give us a sense that our lives are actually meaningful. This is how meaning is attached to culture. And imagine this, that you wake up one day that you are not so sure that life is meaningful. The psychological condition that actually evolves is depression. We can't get out of bed in the morning. We lose our blueprint to function when we are convinced that life is no longer meaningful. So those are basically the ideas. Human beings are so smart that they realize that they exist, which makes us aware of death and tragedy, and our animal nature, something we actually share with other animals. Death, which creates an overwhelming terror that we manage by dipping ourselves into humanly constructed beliefs about the nature of reality to make us feel valued and validated and give us a sense that life is meaningful and we are individuals of value. It brings me back to the topic of this discussion. Why the humans who do not share the same beliefs on the nature of reality, why can't they get along? Why can't they get along? Why do people who salute different flags, wear different clothing, worship different gods, eat different foods, why can't they get along? And the answer Ernest Becker actually finds is this. He said, and according to his words, that if our beliefs about the nature of reality serves to minimize death anxiety, whenever we meet people who do not share our beliefs, there is a problem, whether we are aware of it or not. Because to accept the validity of an alternative conception of reality, we generally do so by undermining the confidence we used to subscribe to our own beliefs, which exposes us to the terror our beliefs were erected to protect us from in the first place. So let me say that again. If our beliefs about the nature of reality serves to reduce death anxiety, if we run into people who do not share our beliefs, there is a problem. Because to accept the alternative conception of reality, we generally do so by undermining and lowering the confidence we use to subscribe to our own beliefs, which exposes us to the terror our beliefs were erected to protect us from in the first place. And what do we do to the possessors of these beliefs? The first thing we do is to denigrate them as not quite human, so their beliefs pose a less danger to us. Because when you meet them, and if they are right, you might be wrong, which exposes you to the terror of your own death. By death, it actually means a meaningless life, like a life without meaning. Death isn't something that we see as the end of life. People don't actually go into war believing they are going to die. They don't. They believe they are going to live forever. Because in the heart of their loved ones, one way or the other, or in their country lives on. Something about them will actually live on. And this is why people don't get along. This is why we can't wait to exterminate and actually reduce to ashes any person who poses a threat to our beliefs about the nature of reality. And this is why we actually denigrate each other. More will be explained later in the subsequent episodes, but this is why we can't get along. We are having problems getting along. Different beliefs on the nature of reality.